Welcome to Water Wizards, where we get inspired by the movers and shakers of the world, those catalyzing change just like water.
Hi, welcome everyone. I am extra excited today for this podcast. So I want to welcome you first to the Water Wisdom Podcast, where we get to lean into and celebrate the pioneers, the visionaries for catalyzing the rest of us on our journey. So we are here today with one of my very favorite people in the world, BROOKE W. March. She is a dear soul sister of mine. Her coming into my field completely catalyzed change in my life. So there is so much gold here for us. The way that I like to describe Brooke is as a feminine embodiment business mentor, but she's so much more than that. And we're going to be talking with Brooke today about her awakening journey and how she was really catalyzed and supported in mission to inspire you to dive into your mission, because there's no time like the present. There's nothing but the now, and now is the time. So welcome, Brooke.
Thank you, Monica,
so much for taking the time. And so my first question to you is, how does that description of you feel? Does that feel true to you?
May I share? It just gave me, it warmed my heart. I felt just delight, like zipping up and down my body. And I wrote it down. I'm like, feminine embodiment. Business mentor. Yeah. I was like, that is really accurate. It feels really,
When I was tuning into your energy, I was like, okay, because I really want to honor the kind of, I don't know, I don't want to call it a title, but the way in which I describe someone's energy. And I sat with it and I was like, what I love about you, and I'm so excited to dive into this, is that you really embody a different way. We're so entrenched in this paradigm of the grind and working so hard to create a new life. And it doesn't have to come from that place. And when we can really lean into allowing ourselves to open up to a different way, everything shifts. Everything becomes more delicious and felt and easy to receive. And so let's start with, will you share with us a little bit about your awakening journey? Like that spark.
Yeah. Thank you for asking. Goodness. There's so many, when I think back to it, because the awakening journey, it's a culmination of all kinds of things, right? I'm 51 year. Am I 51? Am I 52? I don't even remember anymore. One or the other. But it's a culmination of these years and experience and life. But it's like, when we think about the diamonds, how the diamonds go through this deep, intense heat and pressure, and like the cauldron, and like this in order to become the diamond. I feel like I walked through that when I said yes to myself and got a divorce. That was really I've had many awakenings over the years, but that was definitely the like, okay, we're diving in to really have a look at, when I say we, I was thinking like outside, like in the spiritual realm, the we, but I'm talking about me really. I recognized that I needed to get radically honest with what I was wanting. And the truth was that I woke up realizing I wasn't actually living the life that I desired at all. And that I swore I would never be in this cookie cutter box. And then suddenly I woke up. I was like, how did this happen? How did I become, not that I didn't want children, because I always wanted to be a mother, but how did I become this mother of 2 children that was like on this hamster wheel of life every single day, and tucking all of my own needs aside and really just giving everything. And I believe that motherhood is a sacred journey. So I wanted to. It wasn't that I didn't want to, and I have no regrets about it. But the regrets that I did have about it, and what I recognized, which started this whole catalyst, was recognizing that I was living my life for other people, and that I was actually fitting myself into a box. We as women, we tend to mold ourselves. This is from our survival skills, right? Back in the cave days, we had to. We were like, okay, we're the smaller. the hunters need to go kill. Like, it was actually based on survival. So back in the day, we actually did really mold ourselves to meet the needs of men in order to survive. And so that's a deep lineage, and that's a deep belief, and that's a deep, we're carrying these cells, as we know, from generations on of this imprinting. And so for women, especially, most of us, you'll see a lot of people talking about stepping away from being the people pleaser. Right. Stepping away from just what women naturally do. And we see this with our little girls too. They're just so sweet and so innocent. And they just want to make everybody happy, and they want to keep the peace. And they want, like, that's our beautiful feminine nature. And it's an exquisite quality that we have that the world desperately needs. And it comes at a cost. This cost, and the cost for me was that I finally realized that I was really living a life that I didn't actually sign up for. And when I was willing to look at that, accept it, and it hit me over the head like a ton of bricks. I mean, it was just one of those things that tends to happen with people, right? It was just like one of those things where you're like, holy shit, what's going on? It wasn't something that, like, it's just snuck up on me and I didn't recognize it. I didn't know it was here. It wasn't like I was holding these old beliefs that I wasn't looking at. Like, there was none of that. It was just all of a sudden I woke up and I was like, whoa. This actually is a much smaller life than I am here to live. And I'm a no for this. And so the only way to do it was I had to leave. I had to change everything. And I don't even know if I answered your question, Monica, but that was the beginning, was the wake up. And sometimes the whispers and the wake up comes out of a sleep. I really didn't even know what happened. I literally felt like I woke up and all of a sudden had these thoughts. I have to leave. I have to get out. I have to change things. I have to, it felt like life or death, without a doubt. And so I did. Yeah. And that was when, I don't even know what to say about that. For anybody who's ever been through a divorce, it is the absolute unearthing of everything. I just don't even know what else to say. And I couldn't have even imagined how difficult it would have been, or what it would have brought me, or what I would have been up against getting a divorce, because I just never, ever, 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 ever saw myself as being a divorced woman. I just thought I had the soulmate. I had this wonderful marriage. We were the couple that everybody thought was going to make it work. And so to have this all of a sudden in my face was a shocker, to say the least. But I also had a near-death experience when I was 24, and I lived, and my best friend died, and we can talk about that if you want to. I don't necessarily think we need to, but I'm happy to share because everybody always wants to know about it. But my point with that is that when I was 24, I learned very quickly how to listen to spirit, because actually I was given every single message that I needed multiple times before this accident happened, telling me not to go, to the point that my friend and I looked at each other. My friend who died, she died, I lived, to the point where we looked at each other and said, something's telling us we're not supposed to go. Like, what's going on here? And then we were like, forget about it. We're going to go anyways. And when you have that type of experience, I suppose it could not impact me, but it definitely did impact me. It impacted me. And I realized right then and there, I'm like, spirit is always got my back. Spirit, God, I don't care what you call it. It doesn't matter. Higher source. It doesn't make any difference. But it's learning to listen to those messages and then act on the messages, because most of us, we get these messages every single day, but we don't act on them. Or we get the message and then we allow all the limiting beliefs and the fears and the past, or the reality, which isn't actually even true, to impact us.
Yeah. Oh, this is really interesting. So what comes up for me when you're sharing is that, everyone's awakening, and I don't even know how else to describe it. Like, that doesn't even really encompass the awakening, the expansion. It's different for everyone, but so many people correlate it to a divorce or leaving a relationship that they feel like they should stay. And so I feel like this conversation is really helping people to deconstruct that idea that I have to stay forever. Because my opening came at the time of my divorce. Now, one of the differences between what you experienced and what I experienced is that I had to be kicked in the shin multiple times through alcoholism and CPS and all kinds of things. I was like, this is not supposed to be a part of my reality for years before I finally said, okay, Spirit, I hear you. I'm going to comply with my soul and allow myself to experience something different because I'm worthy of it.
Yes.
And so it sounds like, your connection was cultivated so early with that near-death experience that you heard it and you were like, okay.
Yeah. Well, and this is why, whether we talk about the business or not, but Monica and I met through this online business. But this is why when I got that freaking message about this online business, I was like, this, and Spirit was like, this, go all in, go. This is what you've been asking for. And I doubted it and I questioned it for a couple of days. I was like, I don't know. But Spirit was like, hello. I'm like, okay. And it did take me a couple of days because I had all this restriction in this 3D world around like money and time and all the reasons that I didn't think I could do it. But my point is that the reason I'm sharing this is because that would be, starting our online business would be the other giant awakening that happened.
That's what I was going to ask
you.
All,
it's all connected. Everything's connected, as we know. But I do love that. I love sharing this with people because I think that a lot of people think that they are not connected to source or not connected to God or not connected to the messages. And I'm here to let you know that every single one of us can be connected. Like it's just so much simple and easier this way to be connected and to allow yourself to be led, to allow yourself to be guided. And if you want to talk about surrendering to God or spirit or trust, like this undeniable trust that we are held and provided for, that's a whole other layer of understanding and operating and embodiment in our lives. And it took me some time to get there, but I'm there now. And holy moly, I want everybody to be there now. Like it's so different.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah.
So will you tell us then, speaking of that connection with source, can you give us an idea of like, what do you do every day? What are your non-negotiables that really help you to cultivate that, physical, visceral connection? Because so many people think that it has to be like, I've got to see a visual, have a vision, have a voice in my head. It doesn't have to be like that, but we can cultivate that connection with intention. So can you give us some tips? Like, what do you do to cultivate?
Yeah, thank you. I love that. I'm going to give you some basic tips. I'm not going to go into the advanced stuff. I'm going to assume that most people would like to just kind of get started on it. So one of the things is journaling, right? And we call it conscious stream of thought. Unconscious stream of thought is what it's supposed to be. But the idea is that you just grab a book and you sit down and you can start asking questions. And it's kind of like you're pretending you're asking questions to yourself. What do you think you should do, Brooke? Your ex-husband is doing XYZ. What do you think you should do? And then I'll just literally open up and just start writing without thinking, like just truly writing whatever comes through. And initially, it's a little bit strange. Initially, you might find that you're judging yourself or questioning things, and then you might be absolutely stunned at the messages or thoughts that actually come in, and you might be, and all of a sudden you're writing something down, going, "Where the hell? What did this come from? This isn't like a conscious thought or anything that I've even known about before." So part of it is building a muscle, just like we do with anything when we're wanting to open up. And learn a new skill in any way. It's really acting as if and trying. And this is one of the funnest things is like when you're connected to the spirit world, we all have spirit guides, we all have angels, whatever you want to call them, but we all have people that are looking out for us, right? And they're literally, you can just picture them as your cheering squad. They're literally like jumping up and down, and they love to talk to you. They love to talk to you. They want to talk to you. They want to engage with you. They want you to know we're right here. We're right here. Just ask us something. And so for me, when I first began learning this, I would just do that. It was one of the first things that I did. And I'd sit there and I'd think it was so corny and silly. And I'm not really getting messages. And I'm just making this up. And this is just dumb. And all the judgments, right? But the sooner you can clear out those judgments, the sooner you can just be open to trusting that your life is actually happening for you and you're actually receiving every single thing that you need for the evolution of your soul. Because that's really all we're here for, is the evolution of our soul at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. The other thing was the practice of gratitude, which I'm sure you've talked about a million times on your podcast, or you've had other people, and I'm just assuming. But gratitude is enormous. So every single day, I've been doing this for many, many years. As soon as my eyes open up, I lay in bed and I go through my list of 10 things that I'm grateful for. And that is an instant, it's automatic. I do it before I get up and go pee in the morning. It's just like, it's what happens when I have conscious thought, is immediately going into gratitude. And for those of you who don't know how to do that, that also is just like such a simple thing. And it's little things. Oh, I'm so grateful for my bed right now. I'm so grateful for my pillow. I'm so grateful for my children and all the love in the other room. I'm so grateful for my healthy body. I'm so grateful for all the abundance and the money. I'm so grateful for like whatever, having a roof over your head, whatever it is, we have so much to be grateful for. I'm so grateful for my hands. I'm so grateful for my eyes that allow me to see things. I'm so grateful for my lips that allow me to kiss my children and my lover. And it's endless, right? When we really tap into this. And if you don't know about gratitude, definitely check out the book, The Magic by Rhonda Burns. It's the best book there is. And it's very layered and it's really deep stuff. And it's super basic, foundational, fundamental, but I didn't even know about it. I didn't know about it. And I learned about it through my online business, through our online business. So in terms of connecting to source, so the gratitude and the journal, and then the other thing is so simple. It's simple, but it's not easy initially. And that is just this, that like, if I have a decision to make, if I'm really like unsure about something, and I don't ever even feel unsure about things anymore. Like that whole world of like how the way I used to do it is not the way that I do it now. But when I was learning this, I would go outside. I live in nature. I'm surrounded by redwoods. So I'm always in nature, but I would go outside, and this doesn't take a long time. You can do this in 3 or 4 minutes, but go outside, sit down, get quiet, put my hand on my heart, hand on my wound, take 3 deep breaths, center, and then just ask the question, what am I supposed to do right here? Guide me. What's the answer? And it is the first answer that comes in. It's the first answer when you are clean and clear and an open channel. It's that first answer. That is your answer. Everything that comes in after that, after the 20 seconds, is your limitations and your fear and all the gobbledygook that keeps us stuck in our life. So those are 3 little things that anybody could start doing right away. And it just takes practice. The more you practice it, the more you solidify this in yourself and your knowing and your confidence, the better it gets and the easier it gets.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And I would say whatever you have the most resistance to is what you should do first, right? Whatever you're like, oh, I don't know, that one feels big to me. That's the one you lean into.
Yeah.
And as you do these practices, you're laying the brick for spirit to match you, right? You got to lay the first brick. Yeah. And then you're matched with 5 bricks, and you lay a brick and you're matched with 10 bricks. And then all these synchronicities start to come in, because those energies that want to guide you, they're always tapping on our shoulder, whether it's through a creak in the wall or something falls off the counter. They're always attempting to get our attention. And I want to tell you about a specific experience I had a couple days ago. Yeah. And it speaks to how energy, that veil that we talk about, it's thin to non-existent at this point, based on what timeline you're choosing, based on your focus. So, right. So when we focus on gratitude, we're tapping into a higher timeline, calling in the synchronicities, so that instead of our soul breadcrumbing us, our soul starts throwing loaves down.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's this way. So I was sitting in my car yesterday, as I had sat out on the ground. I sit on the ground as much as possible. I won't sit in a chair. If I'm at a football game, I'm the mom that's on the ground, like stretching. Yeah. I am that mom, and I'm totally happy with that. Yeah. But I sat on the ground to connect, right? Because the more that we connect with the earth, the more open our channel is to divine source. So I'm sitting there for about an hour and a half watching him practice. He wanted to stay and throw the football with his friend. And I was like, okay, cool. I got in the car. I moved the car. And then I got in the parking spot. I turned the car off, left the keys in the ignition. I still have a key. I don't have a push start. I opened the door to turn the battery off, open and close.
Mhm.
I'm sitting there and my car tried to start. You know, when you turn the key a little bit, it goes and then turns off. That's what it did. And the first thing I thought was, okay, you have my attention.
Uh-huh.
Right? So
Right.
this is the allowing the intuition to open up, to amplify, because I know you can identify with me that, like, there's so many times in the past where I would think, oh, that's not real, right?
Mhm.
I would slough it off, or divine wisdom would flow through and I'd be like, oh, I don't think
Mhm.
so.
Mhm.
We've got to stop squashing that.
Absolutely.
It is the divine guidance. It is the intuition. It's not screaming in your ear until you open up to it. We have
Mhm.
to invite the energies in because we're sovereign beings.
Yes.
And so if we're not saying, yes, I'm open to the guidance, then our ego is crushing
Yes.
that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this takes us to another topic of you are the company you keep, right?
Yeah.
And so if we're engaging with people who are choosing lower timelines, who are playing small, who
Mhm.
are overly engaging with the internet, with technology, with all the BS going on in the world, we
Mhm.
are hindering our ability to connect to spirit and to really be divinely guided by our soul. And
Yes.
so, one of the greatest ways that we can engage a higher timeline, tap into a new community, a community that is where we're headed, because rule of thumb, if they are not supporting you, they're hindering you,
Yeah.
right? If they're
Yep.
not elevating you,
Yep.
they are a burden and they are
Mhm.
weighing you down.
For sure.
And so one of the greatest ways to activate this is to lean into your mission.
Mhm.
Activate your mission. Now is the time. So many of us are so afraid to
Yeah.
just make the leap, take the dive. And
Mhm.
so let's give Brooke some space to encourage us and inspire us. I would love to know about how you gained the courage and support to dive into your mission.
Yeah. Thank you for asking that. How did I gain the courage? Um, but it's gosh. I don't know that I've ever had a question before that I don't have like an immediate answer, but I'm sitting here thinking, how did I gain the courage?
This is a rich activation, then, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Mm.
Um, I think it's because the language of how did I get the courage? That's the part that I'm like, well, I feel like everybody's actually born with courage.
Yes, I love that.
I
Okay.
feel like we are naturally, it's just, have we allowed ourselves to be taken out of the courage, like with all
Ah,
the stuff, with the stuff on our shoulders. So I think what would be more accurate would be, how did I learn how to let go, like continue to do this, continue through our lifetime, because we have so many seasons of our life. For those of you who are in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and then, I'm in the second half of my life now, and I'm even more excited to get to my 60s and 70s and 80s. Like, I'm only halfway here, and I feel like I've just gotten it. Like, I've just gotten it. And probably next year I'm going to think, I didn't even know it last year.
yeah.
like it just we keep evolving if we decide, if we choose to keep evolving. It's really interesting,
Yeah.
I will share that my brother, so I'm from Canada originally. I have a beautiful family, but we're really, really, really different. And I shared with my brother that I've never been happier. I've never been happier. I've never felt this way. I was expressing something to him. And the message that I got back, so here's this person I sent him this blast of energy. This is what's going on in my life. This is what I'm excited about. I'm in love. We're going to get married. Da, 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 the whole everything. And the message that I got back from him was, I hear this from you a lot. he said, this is kind of your tagline. I've never felt like this before. And it was interesting, right? And I'm like, aha. And so I could have heard what he said as a criticism or a judgment or something like that, right? But actually what I heard from it, I don't believe he meant it as a criticism or a judgment. Men speak very differently than women do. He was just sharing his facts that you're my sister and this is what I always hear from you is how happy you are and that it's never been better. And I thought, how amazing is it that he has a sister who he will always hear this from, because I am so committed to always having my life expanding and growing and never feeling what I felt before. Like I'm like, I want everybody to feel like this. Like we can all feel like this. We can all feel like I've never felt like this before. It just gets better and better and better and better. How is that for a mindset? What do you think your life is going to turn into with that belief and that mindset versus how most of the world is living, which is just these status quo quiet lives of desperation is what I call them. You know, being on this hamster wheel and doing the same thing every day and not even having a moment of excitement or happiness or never having, let me tell you this, my brother is 57 and I've never heard him say that. I have never heard him say, I've never been happier. This is so incredible for me. Like I've never heard, and I'm thought, wow, isn't this just so interesting, right? Our different realities. But you know what he does have? He has the success, right? He has the monetary success or whatever we deem as success in the world. And I just find it so interesting. I just find it so fascinating what we say yes to and what we automatically take out of our realm of possibilities because of our deep, deep conditioning or because of like a failure. I don't believe in but a failure from the past or whatever. I've had so many things happen to me over the years, including like right before I started this online business, I was scammed for $70,000. I was scammed. And boy, did I allow that experience to make me play small. For 4 years after it, I was full of like shame and guilt and like, oh my God, what have I done? How was I so stupid? How did I not see this? Like judgment, 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 which all it did, right, is go like this. And then I thought, this is absurd, Brooke. Why would you possibly be living your life based on the past? I feel like it was okay. I was full on motherhood, so it was okay. But I did feel like I gave up on my dreams for a good 4 years from that experience. And how many of us allow our past to influence our present moment because we haven't cleaned it out, you know?
Huge. Okay. So this word that's coming to me is alchemy, right? So when we're reflecting on the question that I asked you, first of all, I think the way that I said the question was out of tune with that feminine too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay. So I think that's because of the space that you are operating from, that question didn't resonate. And it's not about gaining or losing anything, right? It's about alchemy.
Yes.
How do we allow our experiences to shift and be fully alchemized to the gift, because it's all a gift, right? It's all happening for us, not to us. And you bring up such a deep part of allowing ourselves to alchemize the old paradigms, to see the gift, to see that we are the torchbearers, the pioneers who have been called to remember as we're moving into mission. Like, what does my soul want me to do aside from, for instance, for me, the career as an RN at a hospital? Now, when I look at my brother, he also has the financial success. And I love my brother. He's an amazing man. But does he feel like a unified field? Does he feel he's grinding? Right? He's grinding. And so as I have allowed my mission to unfold and empower the world, myself, and then overflow to the world around me, we've got to really keep our ego in check, because there are times where I look at, he's married, he's got kids, he's got a big house, he's got A, B, and C. But what I'm doing is different. And we really are holding the density for, like you said, our lineage, for the collective. And so compassion choosing self-compassion and peace as we move through this journey, and knowing that, you know, if you have already allowed yourself to expand into a new experience and align your income with your mission, if you've already done that, we've got to keep reminding ourselves that we get to lean into the experiences of others who are a little further ahead of us, who are guiding the way. And we've got to remember that we're doing this differently. We can no longer measure ourselves by that yardstick that we've all been measuring ourselves by.
Absolutely.
And that is big.
It's really big.
Celebrating you, me, and everyone that's watching, that we are holding the frequency with you and celebrating you for saying yes to something different.
Yeah, absolutely. And the word that kept coming up while you were speaking there was self-forgiveness. Like the self-forgiveness. Like when we go through a divorce, or when we're walking through, you know, when we're rising from the ashes, and this is the divorce, right? Any woman that's been through this or has experienced a divorce or a significant loss in your life, the first person that we have to forgive is ourselves. Like we think it's everybody else, or we think it's the ex, or we think it's whoever has done something to us, and it's not. It's 100%. It's 100% for self. Per self. New word. But the point is that every single experience that we have in our life is a co-creation, like everything, including choosing the father of our children, you know, like we did this, we chose them, we wanted them. There's a reason that we are all here and connected. And that, I think, took me the longest. When I think about like alchemizing myself, it took me the longest to be able to practice this radical self-forgiveness for the choices that I made, or the way that I did it, the mistakes that I made, all of it. Like I had to just be so willing to look in the mirror and cry and feel and process. And when I'm talking about self-forgiveness, you know, you can look at it for yourself. You can look at it from any of the trauma in your life, but it is the way for alchemy to happen, because illness, and when I mean illness, I mean like the physical illness, but also mental illness, emotional illness, like all of it, right? Illness, any disease, dis-ease in our body, it's locked in here, usually from past experiences. And it can be experiences from in the womb. It can be experiences from your lineage. There's so much, you know, we carry the cells of our great, 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 great grandmother. So you can know that we've got stuff in here that we're not even conscious of that's affecting us. But what's beautiful about this is that there's nothing that we can't heal. Like there's nothing. There's not one single thing in your life that cannot be healed. So it's all a choice at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you get to choose. We get to choose. I get to choose. Am I going to stay stuck, or am I going to choose to heal? Am I going to choose to alchemize this so that I can actually open to the life that I'm so worthy of? And that self-forgiveness is such a huge one for women, because we tend to really judge ourselves very, very deeply. We judge our exes and we judge ourselves. But I think most of us, we stay in the pointing fingers for far too long. Because, you know, when you're pointing a finger, wait, where's my thing? If you're pointing a finger this way, right? How many fingers are pointing back at me? Well, my thumb and my other 4 fingers. So the minute I go into judgment, and this is one of the things that I feel so much joy about, is I really live a judgment-free life now. Like when I hear a judgment come out of my mouth, I'm like, oh, wow, that's a judgment. And by the way, a judgment is also good or bad. Right? A judgment is, wow, this is awesome. That's still a judgment. So it's an interesting thing to unpack and uncover and notice how riddled with judgments our culture actually is, and us, the way we speak to each other as women, as men, it's just riddled with judgments. And when you can get rid of these judgments, then you can really learn, and this is what I did, really learn how to be in my feeling body all the time. Because the minute I go into a judgment of whether something's good or bad, or I'm assessing it, or is this safe, or is that not safe, or do I agree with that? Do I not agree with that? All judgments. The moment I do that I leave my heart and go up into my head, I'm stepping out of my feminine essence and into my masculine energy. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. And there's a time and a place for it, that we need that. But it's not how I want to operate 100%. And the amount of joy, the exquisite amount of joy that I experience on a daily basis now, because I've learned how to alchemize these feelings and release them. I mean, it's my greatest wish. It absolutely is such a huge part of my purpose right now, is to help women and men heal. Truly, truly, truly heal. Because when we heal, that's what everybody finds their purpose. We can't heal. We can't figure out what we're really wanting and needing in our lives when we have all these, you can think of them as like little rocks that you're just carrying around. And before you know it, you're just like completely weighed down by the impact of your life. And most people are carrying around shit from our childhoods, for goodness sakes, for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. My mother, bless her heart, is still carrying around stuff, and she's 88 years old, And I will never, ever, ever, I feel so much joy knowing that I will never do that. I've learned a different way, and I want everybody to know a different way, because there's so much more available to us that most of us aren't aware of just yet.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, may I ask you about how this plays into what you're doing in the online space? When COVID hit, the search for an online business went up, I don't know, like 500% or something.
Yeah. It was like 600%, I think. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so we've seen this shift where it really is time to start doing things in person, right? But your reach is amplified in the online space. And I'm actually speaking in a couple weekends at a retreat. I'm going to be doing a presentation locally. I'm so excited to do that. However, the bulk of my mission work right now is in the online space. And I believe that yours is too. Yeah. So let's go into that a little bit so that we can support people in making that first leap. Because when you do make that first leap, doing it in the online space makes sense logistically. And then when we talk about this empowered feminine way of moving through or allowing, as opposed to the old way of doing things that was a very disempowered masculine energy. Yeah. Let's talk about you coming into the online space just in whatever way feels good to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Share. Yeah. Well, the reason that I love sharing about this so much is because, first of all, I believe that there truly is nobody that can't do this if they want to, right? That's first and foremost, if you want to. And the old paradigm was work, and then eventually enjoy your life. Maybe if you're lucky, if you've saved enough, and if you've made some decent financial decisions, then maybe you can retire one day. I'm still just absolutely dumbfounded by the way most of the world operates. Yeah. Then we have many people who are entrepreneurs. And then what happens is we have people that want a different way. But then we end up feeling so beaten down because we're still operating on that old paradigm, which is the work, hustle. But now instead of going to a job, you've just given yourself a job.
Right. I did that for a little while.
And a whole lot more stress because you have to figure everything out as an entrepreneur. And oh my goodness. So for me and for everybody that I'm working with now, the idea here is that what if there was a way that you could actually be fully supported to live the way that you want to live and work with the understanding that we can create a different paradigm and make a lot of money and actually step into an entirely different way of living in our life through having an online business. And now I'm not going to say that it doesn't require work, because of course it does. But the way that this is set up is really here to support the women and the men who want more freedom in their lives. And let's see, I'm trying to figure out.
Do you know the term that's coming up for me?
Tell me.
Unified field.
Oh.
Do you remember before when you were working
Yeah.
that you were like, for me, it was like I was stepping out of my bubble
Yeah.
to go to the hospital. I was a different person.
Yeah.
And then I would come home and have to put on this other,
Right. Yeah.
right? And what if it all gets to be integrated?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Well, what's so fun for me now is that, you know, our business is us. It's really interesting because in our business, we get to learn how to build a personal brand if we want to. And you don't even need to know what that means, but all it means is like you get to see Monica showing up, talking about the things that she loves to talk about. You get to see me showing up, talking about the things that inspire me. People can build a personal brand around anything, your love of dogs to your coffee cup, to health and fitness, to, coaching services, healing modalities. Like you can build a brand around literally anything that you are interested in. And the way we do this is like it's never been done before like this. So it really does require new thought, and it requires a different way of thinking about things. So, but I'm trying to figure out, it's so interesting, Monica. I've never, ever, ever been stumped on how to talk about the business in this way. And there's something here around the questions and trying to tie it in that is feeling awkward to me.
Okay. You know, okay. And so now this is what's coming up for me.
Yeah.
Is, you know, we're talking about this opportunity to allow that divine wisdom and flow to come in. And so as things are coming in for me, as you're talking, so when you talk about what we are doing in the online space is unlike any other way that it's been done.
It is.
Now, we are doing it in a way that is really changing our lives and really supporting our families and allowing us to experience time and location freedom, allowing us to shed our old limiting money beliefs and do things differently. And so what's happening is as we are tuning in with the new earth codes, whole new templates are coming through. And so even the way that we've been taught to do our business is evolving.
Yes.
Because things are shifting and moving so fast. And I think right now, I don't know if this means I'm a good interviewer or a bad interviewer, but we're not going to judge it.
No.
We're not going to judge it, right?
No.
Is that energy is shifting so fast right now. I mean, my car tried to start itself.
I know.
It caused everything, right? Like, and that's cool. We get to lean into it. And so really what I want to know from you, may I know,
yes,
be a little softer about it, is I feel from what I see from you that you're allowing yourself the opening to invite in your mission work has everything to do with you saying yes to this online business.
Yeah. Yes.
And so maybe you could share about when you said yes, because you found it on Facebook.
I did.
You found it on Facebook and you were like, what? I don't know.
Yeah, and it was a terrible webinar that I watched too. I was just like, this doesn't make any sense.
I love it. So will you, may I ask you to share just a little bit about like what the journey has been for you? Like how, when you said yes, you invited in this opportunity. I have seen so much growth and change from myself, but also from you over the past 3 years that I've known you. Tell us about how this business is interwoven with your mission and your life. Give us some tangible, some deliciousness around the unified field that you have created. Maybe a few specific examples.
Yeah. Well, the most tangible, easy example to begin with is money, right? Like we cannot be on our purpose. Well, you could. I don't like to speak in blanket statements. I tend to do that sometimes, but I don't mean to speak in blanket statements. But most people, let's just put it this way. If you don't have money, you can't actually be as on purpose and as on task as you want to be, because you're in survival mode when you're needing to freak out about and this is where I was before I started this business. I had $57,000 in debt. from the $70,000 scam, right? And that I was paying off, trying to pay off for years and years. And because I had that huge amount of financial stress on my shoulders, there was zero room for my creativity, for my mission, for my purpose, for anything. My only purpose was, can I buy organic today? Can I get this? Can I pay off our credit cards today? And it was back to zero every single month. So this is how people get looped into this hamster wheel, right? We're living this life and we don't actually have the time freedom, the money freedom. I definitely didn't have location freedom. I didn't have any freedom. I felt like I was like under lockdown, really, like my own self-imposed lockdown from my stress, my worry about money. So when I saw this business, I'm not going to lie to you, I was very motivated to change my financial picture because I didn't have any. And I also used to be in financial services when I was back in my 30s. So I already knew I was behind the 8 ball for my retirement, for planning, all these things. I knew what to do, but unless you have the money, there's nothing, you know what I mean? It was like this catch-22. And so for me, when I first started here, I wanted to make a lot of money. And I had heard that somebody had earned $100,000 in 100 days. That's what I heard. And I was like, could that be true? Is that possible? That's way too big. No, this must be a scam. That's not possible. So all the limiting things, right? So isn't it interesting that you hear the possibility? I heard the truth, and many of us do. We hear the truth, and then I was just riddled with, I couldn't do that, or that's too good to be true, or there's got to be a catch. There's got to be X, Y, and Z. But my source spirit was like, this is it. This is what you've been asking for. Go for it. So I'm like, all right. I didn't have any money. I didn't have any time, but I thought, well, for goodness sakes, I'm already broke. What do I have to lose? And all of these other women that I was very intrigued by they had something going on that I wanted to have going on.
Yeah. And that light, I was like, work, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
What are they doing? What's going on over there? I just didn't know. And even though it was only pictures and things, there was an energy and there was a vibration and a frequency. And I thought, whatever they're doing, I got to figure this out. And then they told me, they said, this is a high ticket affiliate marketing business. I was like, I don't even know.
What even is that? And listen, if you're feeling resistance, you need to lean into this conversation.
Totally. And so I didn't understand what that meant. They're talking about like funnels and techie things. And I was like I didn't even know how to save a picture on my computer. I had no tech skills. Not only did I have no tech skills, I hated the internet. I hated social media. I was full of judgments about it. I didn't like it at all. I didn't see how it could be used for good at all, because my whole circle of influence was using it to fight. We were all using it to fight that freedom battle, you know? And so when I would go on Facebook, I'd be like, I'd just be like put in the pit. Like, what's this life? What are we doing here? Why am I here? Like that was the vibration that I would come off of Facebook with. So to see that there was a business, it just didn't make sense to me until it did. And the way that it started to make sense to me was, first of all, I had to watch a webinar. So there are some things you have to watch and learn if you actually want to consider something. Yes, you have to watch and learn something. But, oh, wait, I lost my train of thought. What I got was that I could either keep doing what I was doing, which was not making me happy, or I could reach for something that these other women who were all strangers were doing that I didn't understand. I didn't know. And I had so much fear about it, but their energy and the vibration, I felt like they were pulling me. I felt like they were going like this, going like, let's go, let's go. And I had enough in me to believe that if they could do it, I could do it. If she could earn $100,000 in 100 days, why couldn't I? Why couldn't I? Why couldn't I? Like all we need is one person going before us. That's all we need. And then they told me, we're going to teach you. We're going to show you everything. A, B, C, D. I'm like, really? They're going to show me? Yep. Well, they showed me. I didn't figure anything out by myself. I didn't have to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars like people do to go to college to learn a whole new skill set. I started earning money straight away. Within my first 10 days, I started earning money. By 3 months, my entire life was changed. By 9 months, it was really changed. And by the time, like, everything changed. I started traveling the world again. I started taking my kids on trips again. I started, all my debt was paid off. bought a house. Like the monetary stuff is one thing, but what happened for me internally is that I breathed belief back into myself and back into my dreams. And that's the thing. Like when we learn how to release the past, heal, clear it out, then we can actually open up into the life that we want. And this is what happened for me. And because this business is so focused on personal development, because this, like the systems and how the business works, there's thousands of people all over the world doing it. We have a digital tribe all over the frigging globe. So I knew that it works. I'm like, Brooke, you can get out, like, check, it works. You're already seeing all these people working. So now what do I need to open to? What do I need to heal within myself in order to have the success that these other people are having? What do I actually need to do? And the truth was, I didn't need to do a whole bunch of work. I had to open. I had to believe. I had to work on this, like this, and this. These are the two most important things. And I had to figure out how to change my mindset into belief, like radical self-belief, radical self-belief, and become so unshakable in my belief that I could start talking to people about it and say, yeah, my mentor, she's teaching me how to do this. And I'm on track to make my first 10K month. And that's what I'm doing. And I was just so rock solid in my belief from day one. I knew that I could friggin' do it because the compensation plan is here. The product is here. The systems are set up. Like everything's done for us. All I needed to do was get out of my own way and really breathe belief into myself. And that was the hardest part. The rest is not really that difficult at all.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So I feel that a lot of people right now are looking for an exit strategy.
Yeah.
You know, leaning into mission as an exit strategy, which really even the energy of the word exit, you're really entering, right?
Yes.
You're entering the depths really is what you're doing if you choose to do it that way. And so what you bring up in me is when I was an RN, you know, I was working 40 plus hours a week.
Yeah.
I was, I was drained. I was trading my values every time I went to work. It was during COVID and I was in the middle of a divorce. And so this elephant in the room was, okay, time for money, time for money.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to lose time with my kids to make more money.
Right.
Because I'm going to be the sole provider. And so, okay, I tried it A, B, C, and D. And none of that worked because all of it was, like you said, me recreating a job for myself, right? With even more responsibility. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to open up to divine guidance. I'm going to allow the wisdom to come to me by choosing stillness, choosing silence, as silent as I could be. And I could only do like 2 minutes a day, 2 minutes. So if you're watching and you're ready to lean in, like, you don't have to start with an hour of silence. Just give yourself 2 minutes, 120 seconds. And if you can't do that, do a minute. Yeah. Allow that guidance to come through. And this is when I found you on Facebook.
Wow.
And I was so cringy around money. You were doing a free
I was doing the money. Yeah, I was doing the money mindset. Yeah.
The money mindset. And I was like, but I had done enough work already that I knew that if I was feeling resistance to it, I should lean into it. Totally. And I saw your light. I felt your light. And I was like, I don't know what she's doing, but I don't even care. I just want to be in her energy. Right. And, many of you that are in this group, my energy sparked something in you. And guess what? I am you. You manifested these words. We are you. You manifested these words through us. This is you speaking to you, breadcrumbing you. Right. Yeah. And so we get to open up to that guidance. And then the community. Wow. Having a community to support you is everything.
Yes, it is.
Everything. Because we can be in hermit mode and that's necessary, right? Where we kind of tap out. But to have a frequency surrounding you, supporting you, taking you by the hand, allowing you to know that you're not the only person out there that's on this journey. You're not the only person that's ready to activate your mission and do it in a way that's fully aligned with your soul. That is what I have found that you helped to illuminate for me. Yeah. So,
well, women, you're welcome. And I'm really grateful you brought up the community because I feel like, well, not even I feel like, the truth is I wept for the first 3 months that I was here. because I had never experienced this type of support from women. You know, we have so many sister wounds, mother wounds. Oh my gosh, so many wounds that most of us are carrying around. And a lot of them are around sisterhood and really being supported. And a lot of women, I've been in business I've been an entrepreneur forever, since I was 19 years old. And I've never had support from women like this, like not ever. I had a lot of male mentorship, but that didn't align with me and didn't really help me. And all it did was push me into a place where I never wanted to be. So I do believe that it's really important for women to be mentored by other women. And we're wired for community. Women are wired to work together. And the old dogmatic ways of push, 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 go, 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 those are non-existent here. When somebody comes into one of our mentorship programs, you know, I'm like, if you're not feeling it, guess what you get to go do? Go out into nature, go put on some music and dance, go take a nap. Go give yourself an orgasm. Like, go make yourself feel good. It's just like,
Yeah,
this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do. Instead of, when I was in the depths of my despair, I was speaking to someone that loves me. And the advice I got from him was, you got to pull up your bootstraps and get back to work. You just got to do whatever you got to do. And I was just like, that's the worst advice you could possibly give me. Like, it's not the advice for women. We're really different the way women and men operate. And I feel like we get to use our differences and use our talents in a completely different way. And I think it's really important to do business from the feminine in a feminine way. And if you're looking for something where you don't have to be in hustle and don't have to be in stress, this is definitely something to consider. And now the most beautiful thing, and just circling it back to what you were talking about earlier, Monica, is that now that my money piece is taken care of, like, I'm done. So I've built this to a position that's called legacy income. I'll just tell you briefly what this is for those of you who are motivated to change things. You can build this business that we have here to a position of legacy income, which means you can get paid for the rest of your life. Essentially, it's like I built myself a pension. So they give you a guaranteed minimum income for life. And the guaranteed minimum income that you can build it to is $5,000. That's the minimum. It goes all the way up to $80,000 per month. Nice. Per month. And just so you know, that $5,000, that's on top of the commissions. It's on top of the bonus pools. It's on top of so many things. Like, it's never just $5,000. But the point is, you can build this. Like, why would you not build something that belongs to you for whether it takes 1 year or 5 years to get to legacy income? You can do it as quickly or as slowly as you want. And then I get to pass it on to my children. So I just recently hit this big position in our business. My goal was to do it in 5 years. But I did it in 3.5, and I took an entire year off to heal from my divorce. So I just want the world to know what's possible, quite frankly. And here's the truth. I can't argue with your limitations, and I can't argue with your fears, and I won't. I'm not here to pull anybody along. I'm not here to convince anybody. I'm not here for any of that, but I am here to be a way shower. I am here to let women know that, guess what? It actually doesn't matter where you come from. I don't care if you have a degree. I don't care if you went to high school. None of that matters. None of the stuff that the world tells you matters. None of it. Zero. Nada. What matters is that you really take inventory of your life and your experience so far and make a decision about where you want to go. Is this really what you want? I love there's all these wheels. If you've never done this before, you can look at all the areas of your life, spirituality, finance, health, relationships, service. Those are like kind of my top 5. And then get honest with yourself and look on a scale of 1 to 10, where am I? In the scale, in all these categories, where am I? Am I at a 0 or am I actually at a 10? Well, why not search for a life and create a life where you're at a 10 in all those areas? I can honestly say I'm at a 10 in all those areas now. And I was nowhere near, I was probably 0 in most of them 4 years ago. And that's exciting to me. It's really exciting to me because we can change our lives really, really quickly. And everybody is welcome. Like, it just doesn't matter. The past doesn't matter. All that matters is where we want to go and what we want to do. And we are here to welcome you in for anybody who's wanting to know more.
Beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And when we are able to open up to a journey where there is truly no separation between the inner work and what you are intentionally creating in your outside world, because we're all manifesting all the time, but are we manifesting unconsciously or consciously?
Yes,
And
that's
so
right.
if anyone wants to learn more about that, I'm going to be doing a live presentation tomorrow in the group at
Great.
12:30 Eastern, where you can learn more. And I'll pop a post if you want me to tag you in that. You're welcome to comment below. So live tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern. If you're watching or listening on a different platform, there will be a link below to access that information. And thank you so much for sharing that from a space of authenticity. In the comments, someone has mentioned being authentic too. And that's the goal. Like,
Yeah.
that is soul. Authenticity, I
Hmm.
equate with soul.
Yeah.
We're aligned with our soul. We are allowing the true us, which is unique for everyone, to really come through in that way. So thank you so much. I want
You're
to honor your
so
time.
welcome.
We're at an hour right now.
Perfect.
Before
Yeah.
we go, I'm just going to say thank you so much for the lovely comments. I apologize, I can't see your name because you have to give StreamYard permission to put your name up. So there's a link for that for next time. But I want to just honor the comments really quickly. Oh, we've got some comments like chills. I'm feeling this all over. I love it. I'm so glad that it's resonating with everyone. So excited to be in the energy of you two powerhouse ladies. Oh, I like it. Both of you have impacted me in a way I cannot even begin. Now I'm feeling into the field and I'm thinking that this is Nicole, but I'm not positive because I can't see your name. I love you. Even if you're not Nicole, I love you too. Oh, I love that. Hearing spirit is one thing. Actually listening and acting on it is another. And you'll get kicked in the shin, won't you?
Yes, you will.
That will get louder and louder and louder. Love tuning into that. Letting go of the old ways of thinking and actually allowing the answers to keep coming. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then Monica Painter, you actually helped me gain the courage to open the mind garden.
Aw.
I love that.
Wow, the mind garden. Yeah, I love that too.
Beautiful. That is so beautiful. Okay. And now I'm going to read one last comment. Owning my part in my divorce empowered me to claim who I am and that I needed to allow myself to grow and expand. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
And we're just coding and empowering others in choosing a different way to really do things differently in a way that honors our soul.
Yeah.
So it's so magical.
Yeah, it's so possible. I'm so happy for this conversation. Thank you for having me on. I feel a lot of gratitude and I feel a lot of joy to know that this is going out in the ethers and trusting that it's going to land. Someone's at your door. It's
like
going to
perfect timing.
know, right?
Just a second.
The perfect people are going to see this, and I'm really excited. And thank you for your work in the world, Monica. It's been such a joy to watch you blossom and get to become close friends. And I'm just excited about the future. This is the thing, right? We have this incredible global community all over the world, and we all get to meet each other and like find our soul tribe online. And and every single person who has come in here has said the same thing. Like, my life is completely different. I haven't heard anybody not say that. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much, Brooke.
You're so welcome, honey.
Have a wonderful day.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe. And to learn more about how I support all of my mission work, Kangen water, check the description.